It's the Senior Living Show with Joan and Dr. Bader.
You're watching Senior Living with Joan and Dr. Bader. We have a very interesting guest for you today, a former race car driver. Well, not really, because Jim Weeks is still racing.
Yes, I still race. You know, that's
How
75.
How the heck did you get from Nova Scotia to Las Vegas?
Well, as a youngster, I wanted to go fast, and unfortunately, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police didn't always agree with me. And after a while, they decided, them and the government, they decided that maybe I shouldn't drive anymore.
Oh.
And so I decided that I'd heard about Sunset Strip and all kinds of great American car things, and I thought, well, I'll hitchhike to the United States. So I did. So 2.5 days later, after I won a championship in my race car in '67, in 2.5 days I was in Florida and working for some racers, real racers, that later on in their careers became very famous in the world, Peter Gregg, Smokey Yunick, and so on. And they enticed me, some of them enticed me to come to California and work for them there. So I came to California. Well, wanted to be legally in America, and at that time I wasn't legal. So I decided to get on a boat. And so I got on a boat in Honduras, was captain of a boat down there next to New England Dragger, which is a fishing boat. And I ran all the pumps and the things for pumping the air into the tanks and repaired the engine in the boat. That was how I got there. I said I'd fix it if I could be the captain. So I got to be the captain and charged around the Caribbean for a while.
Fun.
And then there was a yacht from there that a chap owned. He had 11 car washes in California, and he and his girlfriend enticed me to get on their yacht. So I left the diving thing and went with them, and we went through the Panama Canal. And then they wanted to go to the South Pacific, but they said we could only have a gallon of water a day and a few things, and I just wasn't all that happy with that. So I flew back to Nova Scotia, and I ended up in the Canadian Arctic working for the United States Air Force for 7 years, earning all kinds of money, so I could come back to the United States and do a better job and stay. So later on, I had an uncle who worked in Yuma, Arizona, for the Canadian Army at their test site. And so on my trips away from the Arctic, I'd get a few months vacation now and again. I'd go and visit him. And then I came to Yuma to stay. Okay, and that's how I got to get to Yuma from Nova Scotia.
I see.
That's a short story, but
What sparked your interest in mechanical things when you were young?
well, I was very plump. I was 180 pounds when I was 13, and so the boys didn't need me for a lot of the things that they wanted, and I was kind of mouthy. As you can see, I'm a little mouthy. And so I wasn't in favor, but when their things broke, I was in favor. So, and my father was very talented, so what he did and what rubbed off there on me, I became very infatuated with mechanical things. And when I say infatuated, I mean infatuated. I got very interested in that stuff, and I got very good at it. So that's what happened. That's how I got to be and wanted to be, and to this day I still love working on things.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so.
What was your first job?
Canadian Tire store. My dad had gone to school with one of the owners, so that's how I got a Canadian Tire. That didn't last very long. I ended up, I had gone to electronics school, a vocational school for a couple of years, so I ended up at a telephone company for 5 years, to the day. To the day. They didn't like the fact that I was building some of my race car parts in their teletype shop, which I managed. They felt that I should concentrate solely on their machinery, and so they suggested I go to the auto shop and repair their trucks, which I could see their point of view, but I wasn't all that happy with it. But what I did a few months later was I left their company with a 5-year pin, 5 years to the day.
Oh,
So
goodness.
then shortly after that is when I hitchhiked to Florida. So.
Well, since you're a car guy, you must have a couple of fun cars.
Every car I have is fun. in one way. I have today I am driving an '89 Corvette that is exactly like it came from the showroom, and it's fun. It's a convertible. It's fun. And I have a Z06 Corvette, a '06 Z06, which is one of the fastest cars ever made by Corvette. At the time, it was the fastest and a world icon at the time. And it's fun to drive. And you have to be careful when you drive it because you can get in trouble. And I have the 37 Chevrolet that is a recreation of the 37 championship car. And in Nevada, we're more relaxed. We're out in the country. We're in the Wild West. And they allow us to drive it around the streets where they would never let you drive it around in Nova Scotia. But we can drive it around the streets here. And Jerry and people like that at the car shows, they appreciate me bringing it because it's quite an interesting car for the young people and so on. So that's an interesting car. And then I still drive on the street the car that I ran Silver State with at 1 mile an hour top speed and 187 average for 90 miles. So, and no one has done that kind of car and gone that fast in that kind of car anywhere in the world. So that particular kind of car, that's a record that no one has bothered to surpass at this point in time. And I drive it on the street to Cars and Coffee or to Speed Vegas or what have you. So that's just some of my cars, and there's others, but those are the most interesting.
Well, why all Chevrolets?
By accident. I'm a car guy. I like all cars. There's great Mustangs, great Fords, great Porsches, great BMWs, great everything. But I just migrated that way, and because my knowledge pool was kind of that way, I just have stayed that way. So it's out of necessity, and it's out of being happy with what I got. But I have interest in other cars too. An old Packard to me is very interesting, but I just don't have one.
Well, we have some footage of you at a recent event at the Las Vegas Speedway. Which one of your cars did you drive there?
I drove the 1937 Chevrolet. It was, I've got goosebumps. Oh yes, because it was 50th year anniversary. 17 was the 50th anniversary of that car. And I built that car, and in the middle of building it, I had to have a heart valve installed. And the heart valve doctor, the surgeon, happened to be a car guy, and I'd met him at Cars. So the car guy put my valve in, and we've been great friends ever since. And he has a red GTO as one of his cars, and he's just a wonderful, wonderful human being. And we have a lot of fun together, him and some other patients that show up occasionally. But I took the 37 because it needed to be in the racetrack, and it's built to go fast, and it ran 100 mile an hour around that track. It happened to be Vegas Valley Mustangs that I went with because I'm kind of friendly with them. So I tagged along at the back, and I stayed right with them. So that was quite an exciting day for me. And then I sent that video that was made by you people to my partner who built the original car with me. So he got that. When he got that, he just was absolutely just so tickled that this was all done. So
gosh, I can understand your passion for cars, Jim. You've really sparked my interest, and I think I just might go down to Speed Vegas and see if Darren can fix me up in a ride. Yeah, a red Ferrari. That might be a great segment for our show. Jim, if you could change one thing in your life, what would that be?
For the last 40 years, I've been saying that the working people need to be respected more by the governments in North America and in probably South America and everywhere else. I don't feel that the working people are treated properly. I don't feel they're respected by the governments. They are the working people are the ones that make things happen. And I don't feel they're treated right. I feel that the working people are neglected and ignored, and they should be treated better. And if I had my way, I would change things to where they're more respected. Oh,
that's so true. Amazing how our paths change and make us what we are today.
Yes, yeah. Turns out that we have a common connection in Nova Scotia.
Yes,
and that cold turkey out of nowhere, we sit here and have this little talk, and all of a sudden we have a connection in Nova Scotia. It's amazing. Gives me goosebumps. You know, that's a long ways away from here. It's a quarter of the way around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Jim. We really appreciate your story. And if we can get that ride in that red Ferrari, my husband and I,
yes,
I'm going to be calling you for a ride in your 37
We need to do
Chevrolet.
that, and your husband would like that too. We need to do that. Go for a ride one of these Saturdays or something. We go for a little ride. It's fun to ride in it because it's not scary at all. It's very mild. And to think that that's what we used to race, because it's built like the original race car, and it's the same power and same everything. And to ride in that and realize that you're in something that's very similar to what was raced back 50 years ago, that is that compatible with today's cars, because things have changed so much. It's really quite nice. You'll enjoy it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure I will. Well, if I can't get that ride in that red Ferrari, I'm going to hit you up with a ride in that 37 Chevrolet.
Okay.
And that'll probably be a whole different show.
Oh, that's
with you,
wonderful.
Jim.
That's wonderful. That's a promise on my side, and I hope it is on your side. Because it's something that will never happen again in your life, to ride in a car like that.
Oh,
You'll never get that chance probably
No,
ever
I'm
again.
sure I
You'll get a
never
chance to
will.
ride in a Ferrari, but you won't ever get a chance to ride in what you're going to ride in when you ride in that 37. Definitely won't. She will be quite surprised. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching Senior Living TV with Joan and Dr. Bader. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube.